Like I have to acquiesce to him because I can't really like. There's no.
He'll let
like,
you know he's
hey,
there.
pal.
He'll let you know he's there.
When I come back with half a leg, yeah, it's great.
Nah, they kiss and like vibrate and stuff.
Yeah,
So it would let you know. It would let you know.
The alligator owns the house at that point.
Exactly. I get tail whipped as soon as I walk outside.
I'm gonna go swimming, but the Gators claimed it today, so I guess I'll just sit in my air conditioner.
I didn't want to feel like what was that, Smokey from Friday? When talking about Debo, he said, "You know what? I don't. I'm quiet when he's around. But when he leave, I'll be talking again." That's how it goes. Like, I didn't want to go outside when the alligator was on my porch. Whatever. I don't want to go.
Yeah, it's too nice of a day. I'll let the gator have it.
Yeah. I'm good with the AC. Whatever.
You'll be safe in your airboat. You'll be fine.
There's no way anyone acts normal coming outside of their house and seeing an like Florida. Okay, whatever, but no way that anyone else acts normal in that situation.
Well, no, that's maybe the Gators are the reason why all the crazy stories in Florida of the bath salts guy and the I mean, the Gators aren't even the thing you got to worry about there. In the Everglades, they people release those Burmese pythons, and the Burmese pythons eat the Gators.
Go for it, Sipes. Don't hold back. Just do it. No, this is not the place to be polite. Just go for it.
Wait. I do have one question. For some reason, I'll tell you about the alligator in a second, but everything you get. Wait. What? I'm hearing it now too. Everything that's said, it's like double and triple and. What?
Do you have your YouTube sound on, or somebody have their YouTube sound on?
I don't have,
because that could do it.
If you have the YouTube video up, or I was wondering how you heard me talking shit about you, and you're turning down the air because you came back and mentioned.
Yeah. So you got the YouTube volume.
I bet if you have speakers on too, the feedback coming through your microphone, that'll happen.
I just shut a browser in the other computer, and it had YouTube on, and that's why I guess that's what it was. All right. Because I'm going through the whole mixer board that we do with the show, so I have like all these different inputs in there. So wait, so we're already on YouTube? People see us talking all this shit already?
I definitely had to press play on the alligators, dude. There's no way that I could.
Well, and that's when it started doubling. So yeah, I guess.
Okay, yeah. And what's crazy is I wasn't sure when someone was going to say the word alligator. Like there was not a word about it yet, so we were just kind of saying some really interesting things.
Yeah, it was Steve the alligator. He would lay by our pool every freaking day, you know.
You named him?
And
well, shit, if he's there every day,
family,
you name him.
You know what?
That's fair. Actually, that's fair. I bet they have names at the zoo, right? Price?
Yeah, of course they do. I mean, not every single animal. Like every butterfly doesn't have a name or whatever, but most of the larger animals have names.
Listen, it's not like we went out there and pet him or anything. And this was also in the 70s. Now it probably wouldn't even happen. But being here in Coral Springs since then, I mean, he used to come and lay by the pool every day. It was no big deal. We were used to it, you know?
Whatever. This is why I live where my face hurts.
Yeah, you know, also, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there's places without alligators that aren't minus 50 also, you know.
Yeah, but
I've never heard of them ever.
I don't know any different. I've been here my whole life, so I don't know any different. So.
Utah's beautiful, man. Utah is beautiful. Zion is one of my favorite national parks.
Yeah, I like Bryce Canyon better.
Bryce Canyon's great.
Where are you at now?
Me? I'm in San Diego.
Oh, San Diego's beautiful.
I'm coming there too, by the way, Price. I'm coming. This is my tour. I'm coming around to see the fantasy world. So
yeah, man.
Hope y'all are ready for me.
Yeah, I was just in San Diego for San Diego Comic-Con this past year. It was nice there.
Someday I'll get to go to that. I've never been able to get tickets ever, but it's fun to just go downtown and watch all the craziness happen anyway. Yeah,
downtown. As soon as the show's over, it all flows out into the street, you know. But yeah, I was there working with my brother. It was fun. We had a good time.
Nice.
That's got to be insane these days. I mean, I'm sure it was still great for those who were really committed to it, 20 years ago. And I don't know, even like 10 years ago. But I mean, that's just had to have increased exponentially just because of all the movies that have blown up and, new fans coming through that weren't fans before, that not even fans of the comics.
It's impossible. It's impossible even to get tickets. It's like
they sell in like 5 minutes, man.
Yeah. And you got to sign up just to be able to be asked, to be able to go into a room, to be able to wait an hour to be picked. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But with Greg doing the movies and the voices and stuff, I get to go with him as a handler, I guess, with him. So we were able to go.
The great part about it for people that can't get in is it brings like lots of stand-up comedians and things. Like there's lots more comic shows and all kinds of other stuff going on throughout the city. So it's not just like the Comic-Con. It kind of brings us all this other entertainment to the city.
Mm-hmm. Those bars and everything, they had some wild parties.
They
and
blow up, dude. They explode.
It was fun.
Well, now that this is a Comic-Con / alligator podcast, I suppose we will introduce the actual podcast we're here for. It is the Open Bar, and it's super open, and it's sometimes a bar, and it's sometimes 9:30 Eastern. In this case, it was a bit late because the polar vortex just destroyed all of our guests at once. It was insane. Not to mention us just, naturally being late. Right, J Mike?
Naturally.
No.
I mean, just, you know what? Life is life. And it continues to forge ahead whether we like it or not. But no, happy to be here.
You still got a Christmas tree up. Life is certainly life.
Bro, I already told you. I'm just celebrating until I'm not anymore. For anybody new checking us out.
It's Christmas 2019. We're just waiting for it now.
I still got mine up too, J Mike. There's no decorations on it, but my wife still doesn't want to get rid of it.
Look, if Matt Price got his Christmas tree up, then I'm good to go.
I tuned in a week or two ago, and my daughter was there. I pulled it up on my phone for a little bit, and my daughter's like, "Why does he still have a Christmas tree?" I'm like, "Some people don't take them down really quick." Your dad's the Grinch, so I ripped the 26th. I start ripping everything down.
26.
There's people still in my neighborhood that have their lights up on the outside of their house.
If I lived where the polar vortex is, I would leave them up year round. I'm not getting up in that nonsense to put my lights up. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Year round.
Well, and I know that people have partners that enjoy just leaving lights up, decorating the whatever, they don't even have to, like, they're not Christmas lights anymore. They're just like lights,
holiday lights.
They're decorative lights. So J Mike, how are you?
Absolutely fantastic. Here we are at the Open Bar. The last Tuesday in January of 2019. Do you feel okay with being part of such an epic, nonsensical thing?
Yeah. The last Tuesday, the only thing I could think of in the write-up for the description of this podcast is that it's the last podcast before the 2018-2019 NFL season is over.
Well, this is it. So we're not going to have a January 2019 ever again. This will be the last Open Bar episode of January 2019.
That's true. You're stupid if you're not here, I think is what J Mike's trying to say, right?
Just bringing Tuesdays back again.
Yeah.
Bringing Tuesdays back.
When you pitch it like that, this becomes much more important. I feel a lot of pressure now.
Like, this is the last Open Bar. You're stupid if you're not here.
2019, he's right.
There's a lot more pressure on us now, JDB.
Yeah.
Speaking of us, speaking of you, speaking of all of our guests here, we have a couple. Well, we'll talk about this a little bit later, and hopefully there's someone in the chat that can actually settle this because I'm too lazy to look back into the history. But I know we have one return guest. I think we have two. I don't
wait, Gabe.
Yeah.
You just acknowledged that the chat exists. I win. I win. You lose.
Shit.
I win. Doyle rules.
Yeah. All right. You're right. Okay, I'll take that out. Moving on. JDB, you are a return guest. Matt Price, sometimes known as Matt Pricer. I think he's the return guest. He's a half return guest. He says he was only grab bag, but I don't believe him. And then we also have newcomer. This is a new newcomer. Am I right about that? Michael Sipes, you are a newcomer to the open bar.
Absolutely, yes. This is my first time.
All right. Well, I wonder why you don't believe me, Gabe.
Look, we'll get to you in a second. I'm talking to the real first newcomer here. Michael, how are you tonight, my man? Happy to have you.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. It's a lot of fun. It is kind of confusing, though. You guys told me it was a little off if I try to look at this YouTube thing, because you're right, it is behind. But I was trying to see the chat you were talking about. But no, it's great to be
Michael,
here.
don't give in.
I just closed the browser because it's way too confusing. But yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. I know J Mike. He asked me, and I told him, yeah, absolutely. And we're in a couple fantasy leagues together, and he told me that he was a little nervous asking because he doesn't like to get rejection from what'd you say about your father figures or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a recurring theme at this point. I've got serious daddy issues. So when people are like, you know what, thanks for asking, but no, I'm good. It just kind of cuts me deep, and I can't get out of bed for like 2 weeks at a time. So I try to limit those experiences as much as possible.
Well, I mean, at least with daddy issues, it's better than Shane. Shane always calls me grandpa on the show. I mean, with everybody, yeah, with everybody at DFF, I'm like the oldest one out of. I mean, I know JDB, he's with DFF also, but with everything that we do, I'm always the oldest. I turned 50 this year, so I'm always the oldest one there. So yeah, no, I'm just happy to be here, and it'll be a lot of fun.
No, carry on.
I was just going to say also, it's also a lot of fun that I don't have to edit for hours after this. Because every time we do Dynasty Trades HQ, I have to, Jeremy and Shane say goodbye and they leave. And then I spend like 3-4 hours editing the show. So it'll be nice to say goodbye when it's all over.
Well, there's always an after hours open bar that, sometimes lasts 3 or 4 hours, Michael. So I don't think you're necessarily getting out of this that easily, my friend.
That's fine. I'll hang out. No worries.
But we weren't supposed to give that information out to the so-called viewers of this show. All right, Matt Price, tell us, have you been on the show before? Go.
I have never been on this show, Gabe. I have been on Grab Bag one time, but I've never been on the open bar.
That's not true. That can't be true. J Mike, come on.
I want you to find me this episode.
Sadly, I have not. I have not been on with Matt Price ever in open bar history.
No.
This is my first podcast with J Mike ever. I even missed him when he was on game night.
That's a fact.
And then he came to me. He was like all adorable looking, and he goes, "Hey, Matt." You want to be on my show? And I was like, yeah, man, I love you. I'll be on your show.
I got these 2 cheeseburgers, man.
I can't imagine how nice J Mike is in the DMs, man. He's probably so kind. There's no way that you're going to get turned down, J Mike.
Call me sir, I think.
Oh my goodness.
I can't with that.
Wow.
I'll just start cursing people out in the DMs and then asking them, see how that works out for me.
Yeah, you have to insult them. If you don't come on, you're an idiot.
It's the DM version of like putting your hands in your pockets with your head down and wiggling your fucking toes in the sand. He's like, would you like to come on my podcast?
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, he's so adorable. I gotta say yes.
Well, shucks.
Well, JDB, while you're still chatting away there, why don't you introduce yourself for those who don't already know you?
My name is John Dabari. I write for Dynasty Football Factory, and I'm on the Fantasy 40 podcast. And there you have it.
I did try to share everyone's pod affiliation in the description. I didn't have your. I'm sorry, I got a little lazy, Price. I didn't go into the Zookeeper pod. Are you still doing that one?
Yeah, every now and then. It's definitely not as frequent as it should be, but it's still alive.
Okay,
barely. It's like one every couple of months at this point. But it's difficult to find guests on. There's not like a million Zookeepers that want to come on and talk about stuff because most zookeepers are pretty introverted. So it's hard.
Okay. You too busy naming the butterflies, or maybe they are. Maybe they're too busy naming the butterflies.
There's a
Or the
lot of weird zoos are weird about stuff too. Like they don't want to share proprietary information. So a lot of places will have PR departments that forbid you from saying anything to anyone about anything unless you have like this media training. So that's part of it too.
Just want to throw it out there real quick, Gabe, in the chat. Shout out to Aaron. We've got a lit chat already. And say what?
Someone have my back here. That he's definitely been on the show, right?
No one's actually had your back. Aaron says this bar is for the facial hair inclined tonight. So apparently, if you can't swing it on the face, then it's a wrap.
Yeah. Conversely, where our group here has that to a degree. I think Sipes, I don't mean to be a hater by any means, but
no, I just got this just the goatee part, not the whole beard part, you know?
yeah.
Hey, it's clean though.
Well, you look great.
Oh, thanks. It's kind of like the WWE. All of a sudden, like every male talent of the WWE has a beard. Like everybody. It's just weird out of nowhere. But whatever. I've always just had this.
Fucking hipsters.
I grow a beard because I'm neither a woman or a child. That's Ron. That's a Ron Swanson quote.
Oh,
oh, okay.
That sounds like a Ron Swanson quote.
It does.
Love that.
Yeah.
Plus, I live in South Florida. You guys are all in the snow. You guys all want to protect your face to keep cool or warm, whatever. Here, it's freaking hot. I usually shave my head too. This is like long right now because it's always so freaking hot.
But then you just burn. You need that natural sunscreen.
Yeah, no. It is funny, Tyler. I did open up this chat after all, even though he said not to. And people keep writing Grandpa Sipes. I just saw that.
He's correct.
Ooh.
That's rude. That's
Earlier
rude,
when you
Tyler.
said
Get
something about
Sipes
grandpa
the
issues.
pipe. Get him one of them old pipes.
Is that Gunther out there?
Tobacco.
That is
Yeah.
gone.
Freaking Jerry. He has this weird thing where he calls me Newman. Like I'm his Newman for some reason. I don't really know why.
He did say that in the chat.
So then I like, oh, did he really? Of course he
He said
did.
Price is my
Wow.
Newman.
So then I'll like always like reply with some Newman gif because I don't know why I'm just Newman, but I guess I am. So I guess he's my Jerry. I don't know.
That's pretty funny.
All right. So everybody in the chat, again, thank you guys for joining us. Aaron, again, what's up, man? Top Gunther's in the building. Aton. Peace up, Aton down. What's going on, man? Jesse Reeves. Hello, sir. Stompy's in the building. SFB8 champion, I think is what he's referred to as nowadays. Rojas. What's up, Brandon? As well as Doug Eddie. Eddie Doug's in the building. Real quick, the question was posed. Super Bowl picks by Aaron. Who you guys have?
How tinfoil hat wearing do we want to get? So I think it's the Patriots, and I don't think it's even close on a pure football sense. There's a couple really good books sitting right next to me by a guy named Brian Toohey. The Fixes In and Larceny Games, and it's all about sports fixing.
Oh no.
And here's my thing. What would the NFL need to happen the most? And the answer is get people in LA to actually want to watch a fucking football game. So I think the Rams win with shady officiating, but I think as a sports bettor and a guy who watches, I think the Patriots should win. But I think the league may direct it towards the Rams so people will buy season tickets in their multi-billion-dollar stadium that nobody in LA gives a shit about because they're busy surfing.
Are we going to talk about Sasquatches and vampires also on the show?
Yes.
Yeah, really. JDB, do you really believe that? Do you really believe that there's a possibility of the fix being in?
At worst, it's 50-50.
How do you I get it with other sports that are more one-on-one, but I've never really understood, unless you're just directly talking about ref calls, how do you fix a game with 22 moving parts,
Well, I mean, if you want to get into fixing, I mean, all you need is one guy.
I don't know if I just opened up a can of worms.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's think about it. If you have something on a center, there's a bad snap every once in a while. I mean, all you need is a bad snap to affect the point spread.
I mean, I think we just saw that with people being skeptical with the Rams and Saints game, and I think it's certainly heightened now that that the Rams advanced from a piss poor call, and then of all teams, the Patriots with their history. So like now we're looking at two teams that should they even be there ever is like what people are probably thinking.
Yeah, but even that Saints call though, fine, that Saints call happened. It's a bad call, obviously, but there was also other bad calls that happened during that game. I get that everybody's so upset, because that happened right at that point, but then they still went on to play more, and then they still went on to go into overtime, and then they lost the game. So it's not like they lost only because that bad call. I do know that they said if the call didn't get made, then they could have ran the clock and blah, blah, blah. But you could go back and look at the rest of that game, and there's other non-calls and bad calls. So you can't just blame the whole thing on that one call.
Even if they could just play better at home early on and got a bigger lead, so one play didn't matter.
Correct. Exactly. There's so many ifs. The fact that somebody sued to have them replay the final 2 minutes is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
A bunch of people. Wasn't it like a class action?
Probably. This is ridiculous. The most ridiculous thing ever.
Nola's had a rough couple of years, though. I mean, wow.
So yeah, you have a right to sue for over something absurd. It's cool. No big deal.
It's America, right? That's what we do.
Wouldn't it be great if they actually won and the league had to fly everybody back for fucking 2 minutes of football? What a logistical nightmare.
That would be amazing. Pack fans back in the building for 2 minutes.
Yeah, that would be awesome, actually. That's pretty funny.
That's wild. The other folks in the chat, real quick shouts out because I forgot them. Well, not forgot them, but further down in the chat. Andrew Burke, what's up, man? Jordan McNamara, author of Analytics of Dynasty, aka the book writer himself.
I thought he was supposed to be on tonight.
No, 7 days early. It's all good though. Yeah, it looks like a whole lot of Pat's love is going on right now in the chat. I think I may have seen one Rams pick, but David Berger, the big homie Berg, came in and he wanted to let you guys know people in LA watch football, and then all caps he puts trigger warning. So I think you guys struck a nerve with the whole LA doesn't care about football with
just
Berg.
Me.
Trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers, Berg. Chill.
I mean, look, there's only one city I know of that's lost multiple franchises prior to this season. So,
hey, JDB savage.
True.
Jay, are you excited about the Raiders coming to you?
No, fuck no. And I actually kind of like the Raiders. Like the Raiders are a team I kind of like, but just as like logistically, if this town's going to be a nightmare. I'm not. If anybody knows Las Vegas, I will never travel south of Sahara on football weekends ever.
No way. No,
I'm staying. I'm hunkering down in my house.
I'm sure they'll finally make that monorail useful, though. I'm sure.
No, it doesn't go anywhere.
I know it's the most worthless thing ever. Why? You could have made it so much better, and it's just.
Oh, it could be amazing.
Yeah,
if they ran it down like the middle of the strip.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Like,
this is the back road monorail. Does it take me any casinos? Well, no, not really. Like, oh well, what the fuck am I doing on this thing?
The first year they made it, though, it worked for us because we were there for CES and AVN, and we used it to go back and forth between the conventions. That was a good monorail.
The porn computer connection is strong.
So tell us about the sex dolls.
Yeah. No, but we actually did use the monorail to go back and forth. It was awesome.
I rode it once, like a novelty, and I was like, "What am I? Where am I?" Like this doesn't even. It used to run right next to my my first apartment when I moved out here. It ran like a block down, but there was no stop near it, so I couldn't even fucking get on it.
The monorail, the one that runs between like what's the pyramid one?
Luxor.
The one that runs between like Luxor and Mandalay Bay is more useful than the actual.
Oh
monorail.
yeah, absolutely. The tram, yeah, it's perfect.
Even I'm not sure why. There's a little shitty one that goes from Treasure Island to Mirage. It's literally 30. Yeah. It's almost faster to walk.
Oh.
I'm not
Vegas
sure
loves
why.
Mario.
I'm not sure why flashlight keeps auto-correcting the flashlight, but something's going on here.
You're trying to write flashlight and it's autocorrecting.
Stop it, Apple. Anyhow, the something really interesting that you guys were doing on your pod, Matt Price, is, and I guess I should actually clarify on the DLF pod. You guys just came out with your QB tiers, which I found absolutely fascinating. A lot of which just because how far guys fell. So in general, gentlemen, if you're creating a list of top tier quarterbacks right now behind one Patrick Mahomes, who falls in the list for dynasty purposes?
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone at once.
Mm-hmm.
Calm down.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Full ranking layout or what?
I mean, did you want me to go? I figured you were asking other people.
It was for everyone.
Well, I mean, for our consensus tiers for that particular show, I ended up agreeing with Ryan and Dan that we should just have Mahomes in a league of his own, I guess, like a tier of his own. But for my personal tier, I still kind of feel like he's going to come back to the pack a little bit production wise. So I still have Rodgers and Luck in that first tier with him. And a lot of people are angry about Rodgers still up there because of the age and everything, and the fact that we have Roethlisberger and Rivers who are only a year or two older than Rodgers, and they're down in the 20s. So why are we propping Rodgers up into the top tier? Which I understand that argument, but for me, I think he's going to come back and have a monster season for I think he's going to play another 4 or 5 years, and if I have 5 years out of that guy, he still belongs in the top tier for me.
I think that's fair. I don't know why he should be going anywhere like Brady and Breeze.
Whoa.
Sorry, guys.
Hello.
Dog was not happy.
And I'm sure, I guess Rivers and Big Ben have been up there as well. They've all kind of hovered around, top 5, top 10. And it seems like we're talking every year of like, when are they going to retire? You're not talking about that with Aaron Rodgers, like not even really that close yet. So, I mean, it's completely fair to have him in that top tier. Like, just look at the track history. It's ridiculous.
I would put Russell Wilson up near that top group also.
Yeah.
Top 5-ish.
As the man wearing the Seahawks jersey.
Correct. Don't worry about that.
No, I agree though. I think he's still in that top, maybe not the very top tier, but I think he's, like right below it, if not up there with them.
I mean, this might have been worst case scenario for us in terms of just pure attempts. It'd be tough to get worse than this.
Yeah. And the thing with him is he starts every year you can get him cheap because he starts out so shitty every season. So you get through the first 4 weeks and people are like, oh, he's having a terrible year. But it's just kind of the way the Seahawks play. They play kind of shitty to open the year, and then as the year goes on, they pick it up, and the fantasy points come with it. So I don't, he's
just come raining in. It's nice.
Yeah,
I mean, even his bad year, he's the quarterback 8, right? So I mean,
yeah,
darn.
It's like sheesh. Yeah, this last season he had 427 attempts, which was he hadn't had it. Yeah, and his rookie year, he had 393. The year after that, he had 407. But every other year, much more than the 427. So it's interesting.
How far did Wentz drop down on that price?
On my personal ones?
Whatever. On the DLF pod. I take it that he was one that dropped.
I have him in tier 3 with Wentz, and for the consensus one, we put him in tier 2. With a whole bunch of guys. And for the consensus tiers, it was Mahomes up top, and then Watson, Goff, Mayfield, Rodgers, Wilson, Luck, Wentz, and Cam in the second tier. So
it seems like that second tier is like massive. Like you said, Mahomes is on his own island. Maybe you could talk Luck and Rodgers, but like after that, hoofda.
Yeah, it's a little bit more delineated for me, but I can understand why you would still have Wentz and Newton there.
Is there anybody else that you guys are like incredibly high on? like right now, I know Berg Berg is a Rams fan, but I know that Berg can be level-headed about things too. Berg says go buy Goff. Is there anybody else that you think that you're probably higher on than most as it pertains to not just price, but for production, or just a guy that might be sneaking behind the bushes, if you will?
I mean, price throughout Mayfield, but I'm an unreasonable fanboy, so I can't speak about it in a neutral setting.
I mean, where is he? He's still probably hovering around that top 10 as well, right?
Yeah, he's in the second tier solidly. He's in he's like quarterback 7, something like that. Quarterback 7 or 8.
I think a decent guy that's probably dropped and doesn't necessarily get respect, and people seem to love and hate, or hate for the most part, I think, is Dak Prescott.
Yep.
I just don't really. I've never really understood that one.
3 seasons, 3 top 10 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, and everybody hates him.
Yeah, we're not talking Blake Bortles. Like you understand what kind of player that he is when you watch Blake Bortles. It's not the same. Just not the same as Dak Prescott.
It's all because of one quarterback leagues, because no one cares about the back end quarterback ones, because they're just a little bit better than the quarterback 2s that are even more cheaper. It's that. I think that's the reason. If people played more super flex leagues, I think they would care about them more.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like more people are playing super flex leagues now.
I hope so.
I mean, even on our show, Shane always like shits all over anybody who says they're in a 1 quarterback league. He's like, if you're playing in 1 quarterback league, you're not playing fantasy right, But where did you have Dak in your rankings then?
He was outside the top 12. I think he was like 14, 15, something like that.
Honorable mention, I think.
I feel like I'm talking too much, but I can throw out 2 names.
There's no such thing, Matt Price.
Jameis Winston is a guy I'm going to fall into a trap on with Bruce Arians. I just love that pairing, and I know it's all narrative street, but I don't know. I love that pairing. I think that offense is going to be pretty ridiculous with those 2. And then one guy who I don't know how I necessarily feel about in terms of him jumping into the top 12 or as a buy, but I feel like no one's talking about Matt Ryan, who's finished quarterback 2 overall in 2 of the last 3 seasons. I know he's older, but he's not as old as Big Ben. He's not even old as Rodgers, but no one really cares about Matt Ryan. And maybe that goes back to 1 quarterback league things. Like, you don't care about Matt Ryan there, but he's been quarterback 2 overall 2 of the last 3 years.
There's just something hateable about the Falcons.
You're right. There is, man. There is.
Yeah. I mean, even Julio, like at the end of the year, Julio's there every year, but the hashtag never Julio thing on Twitter.
Yeah, well, literally never Julio.
Yeah. I try the leagues where I've had Julio, I try to get rid of him. Same thing with Matt Ryan. There's just something about that Falcons team that even when they're good, you're like, I don't want any part of this.
Matt Ryan did have a pretty sneaky good year, though.
Oh yeah,
but they are revamping kind of the whole offense or team this year. So curious to see what happens. But I think that's a respectable name to put down.
Somebody I hate that I think could have sneaky value just based on his running is Trubisky.
Oh boy.
No, I don't like him. But like I said, I mean, if you're gonna get that kind of running production, it's Cam Newton light. I'll especially going back to 1 QB leagues, I'll gladly take him as.
He's like barely better than Blake Bortles.
I don't disagree, except he runs more.
Yeah.
What about?
I'll tell you. I'm with you.
What about Josh Allen? What do you think about him?
Hey, that's who Jordan McNamara.
Blake Bortles.
What?
Same situation though, but I would rather take the upside of. I mean, he's going to give you some zeros probably, but I would rather have the upside of what he can do versus a boring back end quarterback 1 that isn't going to be a difference maker. So
and it's funny we've talked about it on the show before too. There's talking about real football and then talking about fantasy football, and maybe he's not the greatest real football quarterback, but for fantasy football, he's scoring you points that you can win games with.
Here's a good comp. If you guys had to pick next year, would you rather have Andy Dalton or Josh Allen?
Josh Allen.
Definitely Josh Allen. Especially in a 1
that
quarterback
one's painful to say, but yeah, it's just too true.
That's what I'm saying.
But
Dalton's been a serviceable.
I'm still not saying the name. I'm not saying the name.
You have come on,
you're not going to say
No.
Josh Allen?
No, I'm not saying it.
Why?
bro.
No.
And that's
He's just not going to say it.
you're like a kid trying to feed you some vegetables. You can't make me.
I didn't finish my Brussels sprouts, bro.
I don't know. Sometimes I think that it's fine when they all believe that this guy is this, or if you look at ADP and you say ADP has this guy here and this guy there. But for me, a lot of times it's like, if this guy is producing for my fantasy teams, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I don't care what rankings are. I don't care what ADP is. If I'm getting the points every week, I'll take the guy.
Yep.
I think the problem just becomes, and particularly with Andy Dalton, because I feel like Andy Dalton, somebody I always want to come around on and get behind. The problem becomes now that and I think we talked about this last week, Gabe, where Andy Dalton could be out of a job. Essentially, if they cut him at this point, I don't think there's any dead cap. So if the new coach, Zach Taylor, if that is who they're going to hire, which apparently it is, if he comes on, I mean, like whatever, but like nothing to get excited about. But I mean, if he comes on and he's like, nah, no, Andy, like we're done here, and they acquiesce to that, like that could be real sickening for you to try to buy him now with nothing to turn around and do. So
I think it's kind of like a worse Joe Flacco situation. Like Joe Flacco's, I don't know. I thought that he would at least kind of just keep that job, and that it was mostly, from what we know, a hip injury that to where Lamar was to take over. But with Andy Dalton, I don't think there's a guy that's behind him. And fortunately for Andy Dalton, there's not a guy behind him, and there probably won't be in 2019, but that could happen in 2020. I could totally see that.
Were we about to say Price?
No, I was just saying I still think he's one of the top. He's not probably in the top half of NFL quarterbacks, but he's still probably in like the top 20 to 24. So I just think he's always going to have a job.
QB too.
Yeah, just like I think Flacco. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe Flacco's not going to have a job, but I feel like he's probably going to have a job somewhere.
Where's Lamar? By the way, where's Lamar on that DLF?
He's like 12, 11. He's like 11, 12 back end quarterback one right now.
Wow, that's crazy.
The consensus one is having him in tier 3 with Garoppolo and Trubisky. My personal, I have him in tier 4 with Garoppolo and Winston. So
Dak or Lamar Jackson?
I know it's probably dumb, but I'm taking Lamar Jackson, A, because I want the upside that he's going to provide, and B, I think I can trade him for more if I don't like him, because I can definitely get more for Lamar Jackson than Dak Prescott right now.
That's true. That's definitely true.
Because there will still be people who buy Lamar, like this guy.
Unless you're in a league with Cowboys.
I can't help it. I'm a sucker for those running quarterbacks.
What about the rest of y'all? Dak versus Lamar?
Dak for me.
Yeah, me too. I would take Dak also.
Although
I think that is a really good point, though, Price, about to sell Lamar. So
yeah, I'm with Price.
He scored 20 points. He scored 20 points on the regular last year down the stretch without throwing the ball, like for throwing for like 150 yards. Like if he comes up to 200 yards and 2 touchdowns a game plus all the running, I mean, we're looking at a top 3 to 5 quarterback easily, and that's without him like really even doing what Cam does as a passer. So,
there is one thing you did say that actually does make sense. I mean, we're at the no, I don't mean the other stuff. That's not what I meant. Sorry, that's not what I meant. What I meant was it's the end of January. We have a long ass time till the season starts. So you're right. If you're talking about which one you want right now, you would take the one that has the more tradability value, that between now and September, you might be able to get some kind of meaty sack for him, trade him for even more. So maybe if you're looking at it in those terms, then yeah, probably I would want Lamar now. But if this was September, I'd probably want Dak.
Do you think
he was great on his feet, but man, he just looks so bad as like a passing quarterback. Yeah. Just so scary.
That was one of the things that was most disappointing, is because even passing the ball, he didn't look like that in college, like particularly junior, senior, like his last 2 years at Louisville, and particularly his last year at Louisville. And even I think last year, Matt Waldman came on with us right before like rookie draft time, and was talking about how he was one of the best ones like in the pocket and actually staying in the pocket to throw. So it was just disappointing to be able to watch him not kind of just lose and all of that progress that was made to what we saw this year. That was weird.
That's why I think I still believe. I think it's in him to do that, you know? So, I mean, I don't know if it's going to come out in the NFL, but I do think he was a great maybe not a great, he was a good downfield passer in college.
I think the one guy that we did not discuss very much when the name came up and the name kind of lasted in the chat for a minute too was one Jameis Winston. Going off of the fine folks over at FF Statistics, if we look at his yearly ranks, quarterback 14 in 2015, quarterback 16, quarterback 22, quarterback 23. So we're watching the downward spiral that is Jameis Winston in terms of ranks. But obviously he gets paired up with Bruce Arians, who everyone knows likes to put that ball up in the air. How do we see Jameis from this point? You guys excited about Jameis? Because out of all those guys that we had mentioned earlier, just somebody who has a much lower ADP right now off of DLF's ADP for January, Jameis is down at QB 23.
Gosh.
I mean, I think people are buying him just based on the Arians hire.
Yeah,
he's in one QB leagues. He's somebody I haven't been interested in a couple of years.
I actually in the DFF Devy League that we have, I did a trade yesterday with Shane, and I actually traded him Winston. We did a trade where he gave me Phillip Lindsay, Chris Godwin, and Cooper Kupp for Phillip Lindsay and the Devy pick of AJ Brown. And I used to really like Winston, but at this point right now, I was happy to fill in a bunch of holes that I needed, and Shane needed a quarterback, so I traded him to him. But I think that was the last share I even had of Winston in any of my leagues.
There's a chance. I mean, if he comes out and sucks with Arians, that he's done. I mean, this is what they picked up his 5th-year option, right?
And they even said that a couple times this season too. When he got benched, they were like, "Oh, he's not coming back," and then obviously he came back. But
him and Mariota are kind of in the same boat this year, which I think they're both on year 5, and they're both looking at around 21 million cap hit wise. So it's worth keeping both of them to see if they can do anything, and then instead of signing them for a long term, hit them with a franchise tag next year around 27 million, if I'm not mistaken, and see if they can do it 2 years in a row. But it's only a 1-year thing, and if the guy sucks, you're ready to move on.
Some of this Kirk Cousins action.
You know who I think might be maybe not a sneaky buy right now, but at some point this offseason out of the Tampa Bay offense is OJ Howard. And I know he's like a top 6 tight end and ADP and all that, but I've been hearing a lot of talk about how Arians doesn't use the tight end, but I don't know. I made that mistake with Kittle last year, and Shanahan never using the tight end. And OJ Howard is a great downfield weapon, and Arians loves to throw downfield. And we know Jameis loves his tight end, so I think he could be a pretty sneaky, maybe not sneaky buy because everybody knows who OJ Howard is, but maybe you can get him at a value at this point.
Right before he went on injured reserve, I may have overpaid a bit, but I got OJ Howard and Aaron Jones, and I paid 3 firsts. I didn't even care. It's like, give me them. I want both of them.
That's a lot, but not necessarily wrong.
Not necessarily all that bad, depending on where those first are either.
I mean, I love Aaron Jones, so
if they're all mid first, maybe not. But if
late, they're all late.
Oh, they're all late. Then, slam dunk.
2 this year and 1 2020.
Plus, you got the
2020 first. Hold on a second. Isn't that like the class that's gonna destroy all of the world?
You gotta know what's funny? That was the one that was hardest for me to give up. It's like
But at least you got your guys. That's the whole point of all this. You're supposed to have fun playing this. And if there's guys you want on your team, then if you have to overpay a little bit, who's to say you overpaid? It's your value, whatever you want. You give away what you want to give away to get the guys you want. And I don't think there's any problem with that. You keep mentioning ADP rankings when you guys are talking about this. And I used to do the ADP for Dynasty Football Factory. And we kind of stopped doing it, and for whatever reason, there was a lot of different reasons. But for me, I always felt that the value for ADP was to see what other people thought. You know, I didn't look at ADP and say, oh, this guy is the third guy, so, oh, I got to get him. But I looked at it as this guy's the third guy, so I know that everybody around me is willing to pay X amount of whatever for that guy. And I mean, do you guys follow the ADP as if that's the Bible and that's what this guy's worth? Because I just never bought into it, even though I ran it all. I just never bought into that.
No, I just think it's a tool. I just think it's a tool. You know, it's a tool like people use trade calculators and people use trade finders, and I'm keep saying trades, but there's only tools I can think of right now. But it's just another tool in the arsenal. You know, like this is how everybody feels about this guy, and I like this guy more than this guy, so I can wait around to get him. You know, things like that. So I think it's another tool in your belt. But I certainly wouldn't use it, especially not as like trade value. Like people that use ADP as trade value, now that's bad. Don't use ADP as trade value. That is not how you figure out trade value.
Exactly. And you even said what I said too. It's like you use it to see what other people are willing to do and what other people are willing to maybe even use it as trade value. Or in your startups, you see that they think this, and if I like somebody better, then I know that I can get them later because shit, no matter what we all say, there's still people that are sitting there going down the list when they're drafting their teams. They're looking at the list and they're checking off the names when they're up on the clock, you know?
Checking it twice.
Don't use ADP as trade. Got it.
J Mike says, I know from experience, dude.
Exactly. Well, good. Hopefully that helped you.
No, I did the other. Go ahead, JDB. Sorry.
Every league's just, I mean, for me personally, I'm in a ton of leagues, and how I decide which ones I'm gonna keep or which new leagues I sign up for, it's all based on scoring. So for me, each of my leagues is pretty different scoring wise. I mean, there's a couple that are similar. So that, you know, the ADP means nothing when, you know, one league I'm getting 0.25 per carry, other ones are standard, no PP, you know what I mean? So a lot of it shakes it up completely for me.
It's even worse with IDP. I mean, every IDP league has different scoring and everything. So to have an ADP on player value is just like crazy. And I laughed when you said about leaving leagues because I tried to leave one that you're in and you like guilted me into staying.
Yeah, stupid. Why did you had no reason to leave? You're like, I'm in too many. I'm like, it's fucking $30. Shut up. You're in the league. Don't leave.
I was trying to cut back on a whole bunch of leagues, and that was one that I chose. And I mean, he's just very convincing. I couldn't.
And that's probably the most fun league. A lot of people that are in that league are in.
It is pretty fun, and I mean, people obviously don't know what we're talking about. But if you're ever in a league with JDB,
the chat knows. The chat always knows.
I was gonna say, if you're in a chat with him, that's okay to not have a filter, I guess you would say. JDB is one of the best people to be texting with in a group chat. That's for
what
sure.
you trying to say, Sipes?
I'll let him say it. Actually,
No, there's it was the shit. There was a chat. Somebody sent a picture. I don't even know. Off the top of my head, I don't even know. I'm in so many. I spend most of my Twitter time on fucking side DMs. I'm not even on Twitter anymore. I don't even know why I have it.
You also use GIFs all the time.
Well, somebody sent a picture. Oh, it was actually your co-host, Madman. I was in a group with him today, and he sent a picture that Ice-T had posted on Twitter of his wife, his baby daughter, and his dog, and it said something like, I wake up with 3 girls every day. Oh. And I said, I'd bang 2 of the 3. You figure out which one I'm not touching.
Hello.
Yeah, okay.
Sipes is like, yeah, I'm not touching that.
What just happened?
I was just thinking of some other things that JDB posted too, but I decided not to say anything. So, so we can move on. Yeah.
What were you saying about the tram earlier?
Oh yeah, going back and forth from convention to convention. Yeah, I did see some people in the chat say, "Hey, how did you guys just blow past that?"
Kind of.
I don't know. Kind of how the tram did. We
just blow right past.
Okay.
That's a mess. So I don't think we ever landed anywhere with Jameis, but I was on the whole never Jameis thing, but man, big
what about
Bruce
like
fan.
Jameis versus Josh Allen?
I'm into Jameis. I was mentioning earlier, like he's my quarterback 12 or 13. He's in my tier 4 with same tier as Garoppolo and Jackson. I'm gonna fall into this narrative. I know I am. Like I said, I am. I'm gonna fall into a trap and it's gonna hurt me, but I'm buying.
You're just gonna get burned the other way.
Do you know roughly? Do you know where you had him last year before Arians showed up?
He was in that like that mid quarterback 2 range, like 15, 16, 8, somewhere around there.
Moved up a few spots. Nothing.
Yeah, I've been moving up that far, like 3 or 4 spots. And it's all, and again, these are all based on one quarterback leagues. And the way that I like to play the quarterback position in those leagues is to have a guy who I think can finish as quarterback 1. And I think Winston under Arians has that potential. You know, the safer guys like Dak and Cousins and Matt Ryan we just talked about. You know, I just feel like he has the potential to kind of be a difference maker for a fantasy team, and there's not many of those at the quarterback position, you know, in one quarterback leagues.
And price baked into it. What'd y'all say? QB 20,000, like whatever, like
23.
Yeah.
So I realize I'm way higher on him. So if I can go get him for, you know, very back end quarterback 2 prices, yeah, I'm all in on that upside.
Mm-hmm. But what about the rest of y'all? Josh Allen or Jameis? Is this just too obvious? I don't know. Because when you said QB 23, J Mike, it just had me thinking that Josh Allen's probably maybe even better than that, or at least around that area. So I'm wondering what y'all think about.
Anybody know what Allen's ADP is?
Allen's QB 15 in January.
See
what?
My goodness.
All right, so yeah, Winston. If you're talking the actual price to acquire him, Winston.
Is he really? He's number 15.
Yes, January ADP per.
People love rookies, man. People love rookies.
Yeah, and I mean, and he was also getting you fantasy points, like I mentioned before. He was getting you fantasy points these last month or so of the fantasy season. So I could see where people would be doing that. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. Well, remember the year after Jameis and Mariota's first year, their second year, they were up in the QB 5-6 range in ADP, like just like, you know, Mayfield and not Allen isn't quite that high, but you know, to some extent, and Lamar Jackson. That's why these guys are up there. You know, they could easily be back where we're talking about Jameis and Mariota now in a couple of years. So
yeah, and it happened. I mean,
second year players.
Wentz was the number 1 overall guy.
He was number 1 last year.
Luck
was down 7,
the perennial number 1 overall guy. Man,
that's why guys like Rodgers, man, I'll still keep him in the top tier because I know he's going to keep doing it. You know,
yep. I'm with you.
What about Rivers? What do you think with Rivers?
I still like him. I like these old.
I think he should be top 10, 15 or so. I mean, the age is there, and he's not guaranteed as much as like Drew Brees is, you know. But I think out of that like draft class where he came from between Ben and Eli, like I would take Rivers out of those 3.
Facts.
Like, I think Rivers has finished outside top 12 like twice in his entire career.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, I won 4 leagues this year, and 3 of those 4 leagues I had Rivers as my quarterback. And Shane and I did a trade in one of the leagues where I gave him Kirk Cousins for Rivers, and I just like him. And I think it's funny that I get the fact that people like the younger players. They want the younger this and that, but especially with quarterback, I mean, I don't think. Yeah, exactly. I don't think you need to always have to go after the young quarterback. I mean, Brady's 41 and he's out there throwing stuff. So I love Rivers. So that's why I was just wondering, because I've heard you say all the stuff and I didn't hear you say Rivers' names. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, no, I like Rivers. I like Ben. Get him cheap. You know, the quarterback position in one quarterback league is so funny because outside of like the top 7 guys. Like, where do we draw the line? Wentz, maybe Newton. Other than that, like, you can get basically any of these guys for a second round pick. You know, it's go pick your favorite flavor. If you just want that steady, consistent guy that's going to have the occasional big blow up week, go get Rivers and get him for cheap. Same thing with Big Ben. If you want the guy with upside, go pay up for Deshaun Watson. The one argument that really drives me nuts with it is, well, I'm going to have this guy for the next 15 years. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're gonna trade him. You know, the league's going to fold. You're going to leave the league. You're not going to have him for the next 15 years. Stop telling yourself that.
But that's the best thing. You don't tell people that. Let them believe that, you know, and then you can turn around and win. You know, let the people think, oh, I got this guy forever. You know,
we're here to educate and help people.
Well, that's educating people.
No, Sipes is trying to win. Forget you and your education.
Not on this podcast. We basically just have podcasters and writers watch this show.
Well, listen,
we're just discussing our leagues.
Yeah, and I don't write. I just do the podcast. But I think it's beneficial to tell people in your league, don't educate the other people in your league. If they're happy with saying they're going to have the guy for 15 years, let them think he's going to have the guy for 15 years, and then you turn around and win the next 2 or 3 years while he's building up whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Building up his 15-year dynasty.
Exactly. I'm perfectly fine with people getting all the rookie picks and getting all their stuff and saying they're going to have these guys forever, and then I'll sit there and win with my guys that are producing now.
I tried so hard to keep all my rookie picks this year. I tried real hard, and I made it to like the end of October. Like, I love the first round pick. I think I maybe have like 1 first round pick in like 15 leagues. It's nonsense.
I traded away so many of my picks this year, and like I said, that helped me win 4 titles. So I was very happy with doing it. I had no problem with it.
Yeah, I do it all the time. I think it's probably a bad habit, at least for your first round picks, but you know, whatever. Take the win and pay for the next 5 years.
I mean, unless you have like the 1.01, the 1.02, whatever, the 110, the 111, 112. I mean, so what? Trade them. Get somebody that's going to get you the points now.
Coin flip for guaranteed access.
The good thing about those late round firsts, in my experience, has been somebody will fall in every draft, and somebody really wants someone who fell. So I give me as many bullets as possible to hit on somebody. So for me, I like getting those late first because I can, you know, somebody falls, you could flip it for, you know, whatever, 3 seconds and some other player, and I'd rather have. I like my odds better hitting on the other, you know, 3 picks I'm getting for that one.
Well, especially
that's what I'm saying. The smart move is to hold them till you're on the clock, right? That's the smart move. But if I can get a guy now in week 14 to win me a title, I'm going to do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. If
it's so hard. It's so hard to do that too, because everybody knows that. Yeah, their highest value will be during the draft, but right now, especially when people have nothing else going on, they want to make some trades.
No, you're right.
You know, and so you do those trades. And obviously, every class is different, every situation is different. So I'm not saying always trade away all your picks, but I mean, this year I was perfectly fine trading away all the picks. You know, regardless of what people say about this class, whether it's a great class or bad class or whatever, depth, whatever, I would rather get the guys that I can play right now than to take a chance on whoever I'd get halfway through the first round.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first. Hold none of your picks, sell them all,
trade,
and win like 4 championships.
Hey,
all in a row.
It worked. It worked. Hey, I had 2 back-to-backs. It was awesome. Hey, and I won in one with you, J Mike. That wrestling one. That was awesome.
It was not.
It was.
You were dominant all year. It was disgusting. I hated every second.
That league was.
Oh, I hate the dominant all year teams because you know that they just manipulated the fish, and they got the best deal for Todd Gurley or Le'Veon Bell from previous
Speaking
years.
of Todd Gurley,
Speaking of Todd Gurley, I had him in every single league that I won this year.
I got you.
Put it all on black.
Yeah, I got his jersey and all this shit, Todd Gurley stuff all over the place. But no, that wrestling league, it's SmackDown versus Raw that J Mike and I are in, and that was a fun league. And it was an auction league. You know, not too many people do those auction leagues, but with an auction league, you can, you know, figure out your money with a budget and a spreadsheet, and then you could get every guy you want, you know?
Yep, like Leonard Fournette and Devonta Freeman. That was amazing for me this year.
Yeah, and what I get, I got Gurley, Alvin
Gurley,
Kamara, and
Kamara, yeah. I mean, no big deal. It was great.
My first two where I got Antonio Brown and Gurley in that league, and then I got Kamara later on in the auction.
Case
it was
closed.
awesome.
That was it. There was nothing else to talk about.
Speaking of Gurley in the Super Bowl, do you guys think he's hurt? I think the Rams are full of shit, and I think Monday after the Super Bowl, he's going for some knee cleanup or something.
Yeah, a little arthroscopic. I couldn't find where the R landed, but I think I finally got it. Certainly something. It's got to be.
Do you think it is? Do you think it like it? Do you think so? There's no possibility that they thought that CJ Anderson was productive with what he was doing, and they wanted to win this game, and they believed that by doing it the way they were doing it, they were going to keep winning. You don't think that there's any possibility of that at all?
The more you explained it, the less I thought it was likely.
But I'm just saying, I love Todd Gurley and everything like that. He drops both of those passes in the first quarter. I'm not saying you bench Todd Gurley, fine, whatever. But he's saying he's not hurt. They're saying he's not hurt. And they won the game playing the way they were playing. So, I mean, there's look, if he goes and has surgery afterwards, then he shows that he's a fucking liar. The team's a liar. Everybody's a liar.
Every team does. They do it every year.
I know. Shit. I mean, he's even came out, they came out today saying that he's going to be the focal point of the Super Bowl, that he's going to be out there doing everything. So if he goes out there and does everything, then that means he wasn't hurt. Or not. I don't know. Nobody says anything,
fair,
but
seems fair, man. I don't know. CJ has fresh legs. I think that's the biggest factor.
Yeah,
right. He ain't done nothing all season.
And you
anyways, 400 pounds, and that sucks some tackling in the fourth quarter,
And you have a coach that everybody says, oh, it's the new guard, and he does things differently, and blah, blah, blah. And maybe he felt the way the game flow was going, that was the way to do it. Whether it's the right decision or not, they won the game, and maybe it's just something that we're not all used to seeing happen. I'm not saying that is right, but I'm just saying that's a possibility.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I don't think you want to show all and McVay's never been that way, to show all of his cards, and especially when you're going up against a team like the Patriots, where you're required to show your cards before you play against them. So that was a cheating joke, guys. You're supposed to laugh.
I was wondering where you were going that way, but I didn't know that was the end. Yeah, it's true. They look, you asked earlier about who's going to win. I live in South Florida.
We never answered.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't. I didn't answer. You didn't answer.
JD, put a tin cap on.
I live in South Florida, and I've Dolphins and whatever, and that's how I got into fantasy, was because of being a Dolphins fan. But I've always hated the Patriots, but I can see how he's a great coach and he's a great quarterback, but I never thought that the Giants were going to beat him, and they beat him twice. I didn't think the Eagles were going to beat him, and the Eagles beat him. I mean, they could go out there and they can be beat, and it just makes the Super Bowl so much more fun when they're beat, and it's funny to hear all these people go, I'm not going to watch the Super Bowl because I'm sick of seeing them. That's stupid. Watch the Super Bowl. Maybe they'll win, maybe they won't, but watch it. Don't not watch it because they're there. Right. They're always going to be there, apparently. So just watch it and have fun. And
if they do win it, if they do win it, just think about how amazing it is that the Patriots have been to 8 straight AFC conference finals and been to 4 out of the last 5 Super Bowls, 3 straight, not even mentioning what he did earlier in his career. It's just, I get the hate for the Patriots, but also I love watching greatness happen. And to be able to miss, if you miss that moment because you hate the Patriots, that seems dumb to me.
Yeah,
exactly. And it is amazing that we are witnessing it, whether we like them or not. We're seeing history happen in front of us, and it'll be way more exciting if the Rams win the game. I'll be very happy. But if it doesn't, happen, then okay, that's fine too. But don't not watch it just because they're in it. That's just stupid.
Hey, do you guys want to play a game?
Sure.
Yeah.
You jigsaw? What this is?
I don't know how many of you guys listen to the Game Night podcast, but I have a name game if you guys would like to play that. Do you guys know what the name game is?
Yes,
Okay.
but explain it for everybody.
So this is based on the Wheel of Fortune category before and after, where you get a clue and there are two answers in it, where the sound of the end of one part of the clue blends into the sound of the next part of the clue. So if I was doing this game with football players, I could give a clue like NFC. Oh gosh, where is he now? Terrible. That's so terrible. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna use the way. I'm just gonna. So I'm gonna give you. So there's a theme for this one. So sometimes we'll have a theme. Like last episode with Russ Dynasty Outhouse, his theme was movies from the early 2000s. So characters that blend into players' name. If I was gonna do it with just NFL players, I would give you a clue like NFC West tight end with AFC East wide receiver. And I didn't think of one. That's just my example. So you could put together names like Tyrod Taylor Gabriel or Hunter Henry Ezekiel Elliott. So the way the names will blend in each other. So
That
for
one's
the
nasty. That second one's nasty.
Yeah.
so for the open bar, I figured we had to have alcohol in here. So I have player names with. There's some generic alcohol calls, and then there are some that are brand names. If that makes sense.
Bring it.
So we can do this one of two ways. We can either do it like bar format.
Ezekiel Elliott.
We can just we can just throw it out, and everybody can just toss it around. Or if you want, I can actually keep score. Totally up to you.
Let's throw it out so everybody can answer.
Okay, let's do it that way. All right. So I have like 6 good ones and then a few questionable ones. I'm not sure. About, so we'll see how long you guys want to. We'll see how long you guys want to play.
The questionable ones.
Yeah, I'm glad we're doing it as a group now too.
All right. So the first one is NFC South running back and a type of American whiskey primarily made from corn and aged in barrels.
NFC South running back.
And if you decide you need a clue, I can give you a clue about the team. Probably not as much of a clue about the
the only thing I can think of, and it's totally not right, is because I'm an idiot, and once I get something locked in my head, I can't take it out. All I can think of is Miles Jack Daniels. That's all the.
I know. I kept trying to
bad,
figure
actually.
out what the Jack
That's not
Daniels
bad.
was.
You know, it's
Not-
funny. Miles Jack Daniels will probably be the answer to one of the other questions.
Yeah.
you
I'm
asked.
just.
I
Gonna
actually
answer
didn't do
everyone.
IDP.
You just reserved that one.
I didn't do IDP because I didn't know where we were at with IDP.
Aw.
So only offensive players. Do you guys want a clue? The team for in the NFC South running back, he
Yes.
plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh god.
God, I knew it was going to be obscure too. The nasty one.
I didn't know Tampa Bay had a running back.
Right. I know. I went there and I was about to joke with you, J Mike, but I left it alone because you're
It
my
just hurts so
dude.
bad. Hurts so bad.
It hurts so bad.
I don't know. I'm lost.
Okay, how about if I tell you the running back?
Maybe tell us the booze.
I was going to say, yeah, tell us.
Okay,
I might
I'll
need
tell
the
you
boo-
the
I'd
boo-
rather
the-
know the booze. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I could be.
Or not-
I can say that. I can say that Jack Daniels is a type of this alcohol.
Oh, yeah, that's true. If he says the booze, then we know the last name and we'll know the running back.
No, not necessarily.
I was going. I was cheating.
The alcohol is bourbon, guys.
Oh, I was thinking of a brand. Oh my god. Okay.
Some of them will be
Amen.
brands, but this one is not. This is just bourbon. Now, can you get there? The starting running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. in
Peyton Bar
2018.
Bourbon.
There you go, Peyton Bar Bourbon.
Really?
Yeah,
That was-
yeah, that was it. You guys can
I
do
was
this.
I went
have
down
faith.
the brand name list and I was like thinking of
Oh, man.
All right.
The worse
just
we
like
are at this, the
bourbon.
more fun it's going to be.
The next one: Irish whiskey and cream based liqueur and NFC East running back.
NFC East. That is not okay.
I know the liquor.
Irish.
Yeah, me
cool.
too. Yeah.
Mm.
The team is the Cowboys.
right. Is it Bailey Ezekiel?
That is correct. Bailey's Ezekiel.
Oh,
Bailey.
Nice
I was just
work.
waiting for that ending of E. Bailey
Nice
Ezekiel.
work.
You can throw that on the thing.
Oh my god, that was hard, but you got it.
Well, Spoonie was first in the chat. Way to go, Spoonie. See you.
Oh, Spoonie got it. Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh, I should I pay attention to chat? All right, next one. NFC North wide receiver and the official beer sponsor of the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys.
Anthony Miller Light.
That's
Yeah,
correct. Anthony
good.
Miller. Right.
J Mike.
I know I'm failing. I should know that.
I'm with
Just
you.
for the Anthony Miller part.
Yeah.
This may have been the greatest moment of my entire
I could have also used Lamar Miller for that one. I'm sure it's-
No, don't use Lamar Miller for that. No.
The next one, German herbal spice liqueur and
Oh,
NFC East wide receiver.
Ooh, NFC East wide receiver.
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I definitely know the liqueur.
Cowboys.
Wow.
Giants.
AFC or NFC.
What did I say? I said NFC East.
Washington.
Have you not got to the questionable ones yet? You're still on the easy
I
ones?
haven't. No.
Oh, I can't wait for those.
All right,
You
so
want the team?
let's see.
Yes.
Okay,
The
fine.
team is the New York Giants.
What?
What was the
Odell
liquor again?
Beckham,
A German herbal spice
Odell-
liqueur.
Is there a drink? with
Odell Beckham.
Sterling?
Ab.
Wait.
What?
No, what about
No,
Sterling?
the drink, the alcohol will come first in this one.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
So the order I give the clues in is the order they appear in. So if the
I think-
alcohol is first,
I think
then the
Spoonie got
alcohol
this
is
one
first.
too. And he's
Did he?
delayed. and
What do you
everything.
say? What do you say?
He said Jägermeister Sterling Shepherd.
That's
I-
correct.
And it's
Jägermeister.
funny, I just said, is there something with Sterling? But I didn't know Jägermeister Sterling.
All right.
Jägermeister.
I did not have the liqueur.
Two more legit
You
ones.
were so Gabe was so quick to claim he had the booze, and then
100. No.
I only
So far.
figured out the Sterling. Go ahead.
Mexican coffee flavored liqueur
Oh
Mhm.
shit!
and NFC East wide receiver.
So the problem I always have is trying to put which one is first kind of thing.
Well, the drink is first.
Always?
No, this time he
He
said the
said-
drink
he
and
said
then he
food.
said the wide receiver.
Oh. I
I'm
didn't
gonna
know,
need-
it's the
okay.
way
I didn't
you
know
ask
you were
the
reading
question.
them in order.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
when
need
you
the
ask the
team
question,
again.
that's the order. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just stalling you losers.
So do you need a team?
I'm waiting for Spoonie to answer so I can say, "Hey, that's the answer."
What's
Right.
the
do
liquor
you
one more
need
time?
do you need the team?
Team.
What's the liquor one
It's-
more time?
The Mexican coffee flavored liqueur.
Okay.
And NFC East wide receiver who plays for the Dallas Cowboys. Sorry, my dog is drinking really loudly. I don't know if you can hear that.
No, we didn't, but now I'm listening for it.
Wait, Mexican
I
Yeah,
got
it's a
the,
Mexican
I got the
liquor.
booze. I cannot think of.
NFC East receiver. What was the team?
It's used in it's also used in White
team?
Russians.
What was the team? What was
Right.
the team?
And I didn't know
The-
that.
the
I guess I
Cowboys.
didn't know it was Mexican.
There's a good one on the chat. Somebody's got a good answer on the chat.
Did they? Let me see.
I'm the Cowboys.
Kalua Amari Cooper. That's correct, Bradley.
Yay!
Okay.
I'm getting fooled by the
that was
chat.
the first
I
one
didn't
I thought of, but I was like,
Like-
there's no way that's it.
Like-
It didn't flow like the way that I wanted it
So,
to.
yeah, me
Kalua
too.
Murray
That's
Cooper.
that's
But
the
it-
two I had. I wrote Kahlua.
But when
down.
you said it, Price, it actually sounded good. So,
When you read
I'll
it in the
that's
chat, it looks right too.
yeah, I actually wrote Kahlua, and I was like, "Who the hell sounds like Kahlua?"
There's an H in there somewhere. Come on, man.
There is an H in there. Okay, so
I'm an
I
idiot.
don't feel great about this clue. So we'll see how this one goes. Large spirit producer, originally famous for its rum, and an AFC South wide receiver.
We got to go team
No.
right away.
Oh my god.
You want the team?
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
Large.
They're based in Bermuda. Does that help?
And they used to be rum, or that was what they were known for.
No, they
Oh,
still make
I thought I
rum
had
too,
it.
but now they make a lot of other things. They also make. They also are responsible for Patron.
Oh,
They
And then
are.
what was the team? What was the team after that?
The Jacksonville
Jacksonville.
Jaguars.
Hmm.
What was the rum thing again?
Large spirit producer, originally famous for its rum, but now they make other things like
Originally
Patron.
famous.
So are we looking for a person or are you looking for a
I'm looking for a brand,
just kidding.
and the player.
He's playing.
Anybody
I'm being
got
silly.
the chat?
Not,
Anyone?
not
in
even the
chat?
chat. No, the chat saying I have
Not
no
even
idea.
the chat, yeah.
All right. So the rum is Bacardi. So can you get the?
Oh,
Ooh, that works too,
Bacardi.
Andrew. Andrew.
Bacardi D. Westbrook.
Yes, that's what I put.
Cardi Westbrook.
Yep, that's what
Oh
that's
my
what was my
God.
answer. But Aaron Bogan just pointed out that it could also work Bacardi DJ chart.
Dark, I
So
like that.
yeah,
Oh,
that works too.
yeah, that's
you
a
also
good
get
one.
points for that.
Yeah,
Have you ever
yeah,
had
that's
a
a
game
good one.
break
for
right
that
in
one.
front of you? Have you ever had a
All
game
right.
break right in front of you?
What?
The game just broke right in front of Matt Price. He had two answers. I don't know if that's ever happened in the show's history.
And from none of the guests from the chat.
Do you want more? I got three more. It gets more questionable the farther we go. The producer of more than 40% of the world's cognac and NFC West running back.
Oh my God.
You know what? I actually made this one a three-parter just to make it harder. I'll give you. I'll give you.
Harder?
Yeah. No, we'll just keep it with the two names. We won't do three.
What's the? We're gonna have to keep going
The
with
team.
the team.
You want the team? The team
Yeah.
is the Los Angeles Rams.
And was it a running back?
Hennessy
wide receiver?
J.
Those are running
Anderson.
Back. Hennessy J. Anderson.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, good
There it
job,
is.
JDB.
Nice work.
I can't believe I got two. I'm the stupidest fucking guy on the show right now. I feel
Yeah,
very
but you
proud.
said
Okay.
you wanted the questionable one, so you're getting them.
Yeah. Two
That's
more. NFC South running back and Italian almond flavored liqueur.
NFC South.
Yep.
I'm just waiting on JDB. He'll get it.
I'm
I
upset
mean-
with all the liqueurs that I'm not
I'm gonna
getting.
need the team again.
The team is the New Orleans Saints.
Alvin Camaretto.
That actually does work. So I guess it works for both because I said Mark Ingramaretto. So
Oh my God.
I'll take Alvin Kamara.
Oh my God.
Camaretto.
I'll take it, man.
You're taking
Take it. That
John
works.
Bosch liberties right now. These are
I
some
can't believe
I
I
am, a
actually.
little bit.
I
I
thought
told
was
you they
gonna-
were questionable.
I anticipated actually sitting here with my head down while you guys guessed the whole time. I can't believe I've got three of them.
Dude, you're kicking
clearly-
ass. Keep going.
Clearly, we got to have you on game night because
Yeah,
there's lots of guests that get zero.
One that I was
ne-
thinking, like, as you went to the NFC South, I was like, oh, I know what it is now. 'Cause I was thinking that you'd go with the, well, I don't want to give it, well, you wouldn't do it two times in a row, probably. I don't know. No, because you
Just
wouldn't
say
think
it,
this
just
was
say it.
questionable. This
Just say
isn't
it.
questionable. Okay, Russian Spirit, NFC South running back.
Vodka Mara.
Yeah.
Nice.
It actually sounds like a drink.
Vodka.
The vodka Mara.
I got one more.
Okay.
NFC East quarterback and a malt or grain whiskey made in Scotland.
Oh boy. Nick Fulmoranges. Fulmoranges.
The team is
Orangey.
the Dallas Cowboys.
Ah,
Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
That's right, Dak
that,
Prescott.
that's a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
That was the novice for the remedial question. I appreciate it.
Well, that was fun, guys. Thanks for playing
Yeah.
playing name game with me.
That
Dude,
was fun. That was pretty
Thanks
cool.
for bringing the booze into it. How
Yeah.
amazingly creative. That was good.
Yeah, and the group chat, they did awesome.
They killed it. They killed it.
Yeah, they're Googling. They're cheaters. They're looking it up.
Price, do y'all ever do a live of DGN?
We did a few, I think maybe 2 or 3 live ones last year during the Tournament of Champions. We'll probably do that
Oh
again.
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll probably do that again.
That'd be fun. That's cool.
It's just hard. I don't think it works as well because there's a lot of editing that goes in that show. Because J Mike, there's a lot of dead air between questions sometimes. Like there will be 30 seconds to a minute of dead air, like while people are trying to figure stuff out. They're not,
Right. Well,
not as
that
quick as
just
we played
happened.
tonight. So
Yeah, just like now. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if it plays as well live, but maybe it does. Maybe I'm wrong.
You have to make people play like what was that old game show where people would just Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where they like make you talk out your thought process. Just sit there.
Well, then it gives away. We used to do that, but then it gives away answers for other guests. That's the problem.
It's funny.
But the one thing I was thinking, I don't know what prizes we could have to offer yet. Maybe we'll still have shirts left at that point, but maybe we could have somehow pick people from the audience, somebody who's playing the game, they're playing for somebody in the audience, and they can get prizes for that based on if they win or whatever.
Ooh.
That'd be good.
But I'm not sure how we would coordinate that yet.
Love it.
Yeah, that's dope. Especially since I will be participating if it happens because I won.
You will. You definitely will.
Because I won one. But before we close out the bar, I need to get your all's takes on some random trades that took place in our Kamikaze League.
Sweet.
This is a 14-team Superflex PPR league, and it's auction, and it's a John Bosch league, so you know what's up.
Yeah.
So you have no idea how to grade the trade.
I'm trying to keep it to the guys. I'm trying to keep it to the guys who are just like players and not the money, because the money kind of throws things off.
I was gonna say it can get really complicated if you really go into what happens in those leagues. Yeah,
it really does. So, but these are some fun ones, and you guys can be quick on the draw here and tell me what you think. Team A receives. I don't know if you want receives or gives up. We'll just say receives. Team A receives Leonard Fournette, Tyler Boyd, and Jordy Nelson. Team B receives Mike Evans. Again, Fournette,
Evans not close.
Yeah.
Close.
Wade Nelson from Mike
Evans
Evans.
not close.
yeah, Evans. Yeah, look, I got Evans.
Oh, really?
I got Evans handprint right there on my wall. I'll take Evans.
I am totally out on Fournette. I'm out on Fournette.
What do you think, JDB?
I'm still a Fournette guy. I want Fournette, Boyd, Nelson, and I hate Jordy Nelson. So
That whole moving to Vegas thing's really getting to your heart there. I like that.
he's by the time that team gets here, he's going to be in the home. In his wheelchair, eating soup in his straw.
I think that is just a perfect. I don't know who sent out the trade, but like if you were the person to send out the Jordy Nelson side, like yeah, you did perfectly. Like getting out from under the bus on Fournette and Nelson, and kind of Tyler Boyd too, because yeah, cute year, pal, but. It's AJ Green, it's Joe Mixon, and it's J Mike's boy John Ross. I don't know, and Andy Dalton's throwing the ball. Like you're really gonna put some trust into? No, I'm just going on J Mike's. I'm just trying to bring J Mike into this conversation a little bit. Yeah, exactly. That was J Mike's 2018 top 24 wide receiver. Hot take.
That was a hot. Come on now. Why?
No, I said it was hot. I said it was a hot take.
I know you try to slide it in at the very end though. Like,
well, I whispered it. I whispered it. Hot take.
What a jerk.
All love, baby.
Man. Corey Davis, Sony Michelle.
What?
Sony.
Oh, you mean that was it? Straight up?
Straight up.
Sony.
Corey Davis for me. I mean, there's always that thing where you have to look at what you have on your roster and whether you need a running back or you need a wide receiver. But ultimately, in the end, it always comes to the wide receiver you're going to have longer in the production. And any running back that plays for Bill Belichick can be great one week, and then James White can be great, and then freaking who the hell knows? You know, it just I would go with Corey Davis.
Yeah, I'm with Sipes. When in doubt, I'm getting out of the Patriots backfield.
I don't think that rhymed.
I just like that he said he's with Sipes. Come on, JDB, let's go.
What do you think, Gabe? You got anything?
I just keep getting scareder and scareder of the Corey Davis situation. Not necessarily anything to do with him, but we talked a little bit last week about how many top 10 QBs are in tandem with top 24 or top 12 QBs are in tandem with top 24 wide receivers, and it's not a lot. So you kind of have to put a little bit of trust into Mariota, and I don't. But I love Corey Davis.
And do you trust
Corey Davis?
Belichick? Yeah, I was gonna say
Corey Davis.
Yeah, okay, there you go. We all said Corey Davis.
It had nothing to do with you, Stipes. Okay.
I didn't say it was my fault. I'm just saying we all picked it.
Pricer, which I miss your.
I said Sony.
I miss your old handle, Price.
Is he
Pricer.
not Pricer anymore? Did he go all professional on us too?
Yeah.
What the fuck's wrong with the fantasy
Yeah,
industry?
Y'all sold out to the man.
Y'all are too serious, man.
It's all Bosch's fault, man. Bosch and Anderson. They peer pressured me.
That's true. I 100% believe you.
Last
Like,
one.
come on, do it, man. Do it.
Last one.
You're gonna get a lot of cred here.
skyrocketing for this legitimacy. Okay, so side A, Juju Smith-Schuster and Alex Collins. Side B, Nick Chubb.
Chubb.
Oh, Nick Chubb. Chubb's your man.
Oh, that
Yeah,
one's
Chubb
hard,
for me
man.
too. Chubb.
You guys just talked about wide receiver over running back, and now you're going to take like the consensus wide receiver 4 or 5 now, and over. Or you're not going to take the consensus wide receiver 4 or 5 over, like what, like the 9th, 10th running back?
Yeah. In
Feels
this
weird,
case,
guys.
I would. Who was the one that you said? Who did you say with Juju? I don't remember what you said with Juju.
Alex Collins.
Collins is nothing. It's
Yeah, Alex
nothing.
is
It's
nothing.
Juju for Chubb. It's Juju for Chubb.
And the reason I would say Chubb so quickly is, with the Steelers situation and with AB being a whatever he's doing right
He
now
don't
and
need
taking
AB,
off.
man. He don't
Yeah.
need AB.
Right, but then you're going to have Juju, and that's it. You've got Juju there. So what if Juju gets double, triple team, blah 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 blah, whatever? And Chubb right now he's just hitting it. And I get what you said. It's not what we said on the last trade, but I like Chubb better than Sony Michel, anyways. So I don't know.
Juju's been in the league 2 years, and he's younger than Nick Chubb, and he's a
I know.
wide receiver,
but and
and he has a Hall of Fame quarterback.
and he plays great when AB's there. What's
Baker
going to happen
Mayfield?
when AB's gone?
He's put up big. I wish I had these numbers in front of me. I don't. McDowell's probably going to yell at me. He's put up mega numbers without AB.
Will you
Around.
get in trouble for saying that? Really?
I might if I don't bring those numbers.
If-
It's going to
if
be like
James-
Price. You know I love.
It is
James-
funny though. You're right.
If
Go ahead.
James
What?
Washington was listening and you're like, they've got Juju and nothing else, he'd be like, fuck this Sipes guy. Who am I? I'm James Washington.
I just think you. I
I
think you
didn't-
get more. Like I think it's a fine trade, but I bet you could easily get.
Well,
You could ask for like a second on top of Chubb if you wanted
But-
to. I bet.
but that wasn't part of the question. I mean, if you're going to start analyzing
true.
the
That's true.
trades, then yeah, there's definitely the way the dynasty community believes in Juju, you could get way more, definitely.
Yeah.
But in the vacuum of this question, that was what we did.
That's
All right.
fair.
I love Nick Chubb.
I wish you would have said it without Nick.
I know what I was doing. I knew I was going to back myself into that corner. But I think
Yeah.
pure football talent, ability to be a running back in the NFL, I think Chubb is arguably the top 5, could be in the top 2 conversation.
Yeah.
I think he's as good, possibly better than Gurley.
I wouldn't say that, but I agreed with you up
Your
until the
jersey
Gurley
in the
part.
background, you're biased.
with one more year of elite production, I think you're right. I think he'll be top 5. I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have him at like 8 right now, so we're splitting hairs.
Yeah, and I mean real football too. Like fantasy, I don't
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do this year with Kitchens, and Duke's got his role obviously in the passing game, which is going to limit
Does
his
he?
upside.
Does he though?
And in
Yeah.
PPR leagues,
Hardly.
but man, Chubb is good.
Hey, I love that
Juju's
somebody.
pretty good too.
That he is.
At 21, he's pretty good.
JDB, I love that somebody in the chat said that Sipes can later on edit Nick out so that you say you love Chubb. So
I am gonna send this over to you to edit. So,
great.
So you escaped.
Off. No way.
sounds like you enjoy it. So
Loves editing.
like the tram.
I sent in my order for one of those shirts though. When do I get my Wubba Lubba Chub Chub shirt?
Oh, that's cool.
Speaking
That's
of,
actually perfect. So, Matt Price, we can tell you're a professional podcaster.
Segue.
You sir.
yeah. Should I talk about that, J Mike? Should we wait?
Yeah, I mean, this is we're at about the 90-minute mark, so it is about time to shut down the bar and get that announcement out.
I just wanted to say something about Nick Chubb real quick. Just a little piece of information.
Hey, this is your show, my man.
I think that that people were sweating the knee injuries, and that's completely fair. They're also sweating the last collegiate season that he had, and that's certainly fair. But he's also coming off some pretty nasty knee injuries. So, and we've talked about it before. Maybe he just needed some time to develop off of that, to get right again, to trust his lower body and his lower body strength to get right. But before that, I mean, he was he was like the talks of what Saquon Barkley was last year. I mean, and maybe more. Like Nick Chubb was nasty. Like y'all want to talk about recency bias and Saquon going 101, like whatever, hindsight's 2020. But I mean, Chubb, if he was not to have those knee injuries and come in like Saquon did, he might have had a year like that and he'd be the 101. So my point is that he can certainly jump into that top 5, top 3, 2, 1 tier easily. Very, very easily. Wubba lubba chub chub, motherfuckers. That's all I wanted to say.
Wish you could put gifts on here. I do the little shaking hands preach thing while you're going.
Yeah.
Like, fuck yes. Everything you said.
Yes, Price. Yes.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
I'll let you do that GIF later, JD. We'll put it public.
JDB's great with the gifts. That's for sure.
Well, speaking of, so J Mike, we don't have exactly open bar t-shirts of sorts, but we do have things that we think are funny and relevant to the open bar show. Maybe we'll throw a logo here and there because it is our brand. But we do have a Wubba Lubba Chub Chub t-shirt. We've been like preaching this for so long, and we just kind of needed to figure out what we wanted to do with our lives. And I think we figured out what we wanted to do with our lives. We have a store set up. J Mike, I don't even see you're going to be better at this than me. Printful.com.
Printful.com.
Okay. So Printful.com, we've been working, grinding, getting these shirts ready. I think J Mike's got something that he's just like, got under his seat that he won't even show me.
Hey, now.
And he's going to release that. I don't even know what it is. That's how serious it is. But we're going to drop that link for y'all, whatever link it is, to the Wubba Lubba Chub Chub, to Secret Stash shirt, whatever that is. It's on Printful. We're going to give you guys some shirts because it's Wubba Lubba Chub Chub season. It is. It's the off season. We need to get him into that top 5 running back tier, top 3 running back tier. Move over, Melvin Gordon. Move over, Christian McCaffrey. Like child's play. Child's play.
It's going to be the shirt that takes over perhaps the world. It may even end the government shutdown for good. I'm excited about it. You've got good things brewing here.
Yeah.
Do I have to avoid wearing it around Dan Harmon and the other guy, the other creator, Rick and Morty?
No.
It's all parody, baby.
All parody, creative license.
Sweet.
And it's probably incredibly safe to wear around rhinos, as well as polar bears alike. So I think that you'll be safe at work to rock it. So.
And even the butterflies.
Especially the monarch butterfly, especially. Yeah. So yeah, we're excited about that. And like I said, we'll get some links out to
Sweet.
you guys. But yes, we finally took what was a wonderful concept and gave it legs. So we'll get the link out to you guys soon. And with that being said, it is time to close down the bar. So with our outros to our wonderful, wonderful guests, we will start with you, Mr. Dabari, aka Christopher Maloney.
Who started that? Who was that?
That was definitely me because I just got finished like binging Oz, and I was like, I think I've podcasted with this guy before.
I remember when you said that. I was watching whatever show that was
Were
at the
you?
time when you called him that. I
Do you
remember
buy
that.
it? Are you in?
Yeah, no. I know him personally.
I
so
can't
don't
even
see
like
it that
stop
way.
looking at you, JD. Like,
Maybe when you look at the little
freaks me out.
teeny square, but I've seen him in person, so no. But maybe in a
okay.
little teeny square, yeah.
Over and over because
My
we would
thumbnail image.
we would pull up old stills from Law and Order, and I would put the picture up, and then he'd
Yeah,
talk,
it
and
was
then
funny.
he'd come up, and it was just it was crazy. It was so crazy. But yeah, Dabari, where can the people find you? What are you up to? Handle
on,
yourself, whatever you got to do.
On Twitter at Dabari22, Dibari, the number 22. Also check me out on the Fantasy 40 podcast. We're on Twitter at the Fantasy 40 FORTY.
Fantastic.
And there it is.
Word 'em up.
Very anticlimactic.
That's that dead air space that gets edited out later, you know.
No, it all stays. It all stays.
That awkwardness.
That's all you, Sipes.
Yeah, I can't
Take that out, okay?
I can't take the dead air. I mean, every time I edit, when I just look at the line, if I see that empty space, it gets cut out. No way it stays.
Sipes, where can the people find you?
On Twitter at FF Blitz, and also with my partners Shane and Jeremy on the Dynasty Trades HQ podcast. You can find us at Dynasty Trades HQ and also over at dynastyfootballfactory.com. You know, we got a lot of stuff going on over there, and JDB's over there as well. So thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun, you guys. It was great. And no matter how many jokes you make, I am not editing after this. So
That's what you think, pal.
That's gonna be in your inbox in like 5 minutes after we're done.
I already sent the first half.
all right, cool. No worries. I'll do it. That's fine.
I knew it.
JDP, quick heads up. I don't know if you saw this, but your boy Burke's in the building. Did you have anything you wanted to tell him in the chat, or shout out to him?
I've been
Are you guys
interacting
fighting
a
right
little
now,
bit.
or what?
No, I saw he was in there, but I've been trying to. I don't drink often. I've knocked down 2 beers while I've been doing this, so I'm already like, all right, I'm ready to go back to sleep.
Last but not least, Pricer, formerly known as Pricer.
Yeah, that bums me out.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's
Shout out.
it's my it's a nickname given to me by some friends, and it just kind of stuck. But it felt, I don't know. People kept telling me to change it on Twitter, so I did. And it's probably wrong. I changed it to Matt Price FF. Boring. I know. I joined the FF in my Twitter handle army. But no, you can find me at dynastyleaguefootball.com on the DLF Dynasty podcast with Ryan McDowell and Dan Myler, and the Dynasty Game Night podcast with at John Bosch FF. Also succumbed to the peer pressure. He created the peer pressure. What am I talking about? And then Jake Anderson also got pressured into it too. So basically, Bosch is just a big bully. I don't know.
Much is true.
Yeah, so that's a game show podcast that has games like we played tonight on the Name Game, and then if you get bored of listening to football stuff, you can listen to my Zookeeper Stories podcast, which is basically a ripoff of Matt Harmon's Backyard Banner, where I interview zookeepers about how they got their job. So,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. It was awesome.
Pleasure's ours.
The FF Zoo.
Don't give me. I thought about creating that site, but I just don't know what I would do with it. So somebody probably stealing it right now.
I was just gonna say, if you thought about it, go
Yeah.
grab the name at least before.
Yeah.
somebody else
Where's
does.
that?
Yeah, I probably should.
Is that tag
Probably
there?
should.
FF Zoo.
He's grabbing it now. There you
All
go.
right, going to edit name.
I'll buy it.
handle.
I'll buy it from you in 10 years for $1
FF Zoo.
million.
Wow, it's taken, bro.
Oh,
No,
Yeah.
somebody got it.
And this person
Oh.
tweeted November 10th, 2012. So how does that make you feel?
oh wow.
I think there should be an expiration date on Twitter handles and accounts. I think they
Absolutely.
should, after what, 5 years? I think that's fair.
Absolutely. I own a couple websites that the Twitter handles that people have them for like, I don't know, 5-6 years and never have ever used it at all. There should be some way to be able to get it, you know?
It bums me out.
Yeah, you
Zach-
got to pay for it.
Zach,
Well,
you
no,
know,
Get it.
but even pay for it. There's a couple names that I would pay for, but the person never even responds. Like they just probably
Yeah.
signed up and forgot they even own it, you know?
Maybe they're dead sipes before you drag these poor bastards through the mud.
besmirching the
Also-
good name of some.
I
Hey,
mean,
all right, I'll throw it out
Preston-
there. DL Blitz. If whoever owns at DL Blitz, contact me because I've tried to get it. And
They definitely listen to this podcast.
so you know, like
DL Blitz is in the chat, just fucking slapping the fingers together, like, gotcha, motherfucker.
That's right. Send me a message, please.
That's
Please
25 grand. That's what he said. That's
Yeah.
shit.
do. Oh well, forget that. 25 grand.
Burke posted in the chat, he said purchased.
Oh, and I did see Zach. Zach mentioned that he was the one who told me to edit out Nick for JDB. So thanks, Zach.
Yeah, Zach also said at NFL Draft Pricer.
I would never give Jake that much credit.
That's my son. That's my son right there. Little price.
You
To
guys are
everyone-
awesome. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, seriously.
To everyone in the chat, thank you guys for rocking with us. Obviously, Tuesday nights, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. As Gabe often says, never late, always on time. Obviously, because punctuality is next to godliness. It's what we do.
I
To
like
everyone,
the guy talking about timeliness with a fucking Christmas tree is February is 2 days away.
hey, look, look,
Yeah, and wasn't he sending us a little video? He was driving in the car when this was supposed to start.
I'll tell you, I hope that tree is up in the middle of July. Like
I'm
when I
just gonna
click
send
on
you
and it
videos-
opens up, I'm like, yes, J
I'm
Mike's
just gonna
tree
send
is
you
still
videos
there.
now, year round of me and my tree. Like
That's
every-
might start opening up.
yes.
That's awesome.
To everyone listening to this in podcast form, thank you guys. Whether it's Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, the list goes on and on. Thank you guys for checking us out. Obviously, we're also on Spotify, so you can check us out on Spotify. And on Twitter, you can find my co-host, Gabe, at FF Man Bun. You can find the show's handle at the Open Bar FP, as in fake pigskin. And you can find me on Twitter at JMikeCheck, at JMICCheck. Until next time, Gabe, take us home.
All the way home. All the way home. J Mike, we've got a show next week, yeah? You're like so you talk about the whole daddy issue thing, but really you are I think you're trying to take over the exec producer, Jake Anderson, real NFL draft talker. I think you're trying to take his job. Is this true?
Not in the least. He is still and perhaps always will be the executive producer of the Open Bar podcast. I'm just thought in 2019, I'm just going to get bold. I'm just going to ask people. I'm going to be on top of stuff. So we're doing it.
So if you're
T-shirt.
out there and you're like, gosh, I wish I was on the Open Bar, wait till J Mike asks you. Do not ask us. There's no way.
It's adorable.
Can I ask you something? I've heard the last couple of shows, and every time you do that thing about somebody asking, you always have that voice. Hey, can I be on the show? Is that how everybody sounds when they ask to be on your show?
Of course. Every single FF analyst sounds like that. Every single person sounds like that. Are you kidding me? We're talking about fantasy football, bro.
I know. It's just funny. I've heard you say that a couple of times, and it's such a funny voice that you use. But yeah, hey, great. Thanks.
It's true.
To tie it all
It's
together,
not.
talk
It's
about-
not targeting one person. It's targeting all of us. That's the thing. We're all in this game together.
Speaking of people changing their Twitter handles, and speaking about talking about Jake's switch from NFL Draft Talker to Jake Anderson FF for some reason made me so sad.
Yeah.
It was the same
whole
time
loop.
as Boss and I. It was those two.
Look,
they pressured me, man.
We
like,
talk about this
Jake.
almost every week.
Do you guys have some kind of like group meeting for your site saying you need to change your name?
No, he was just like, guys, it's time to be more professional or something like that. Make an easier Twitter handle, something like that. John sat Jake and I down and we're like, listen, guys,
But man bun is
time to
okay?
get serious.
But man bun is okay. Man bun hasn't had to be changed.
I mean, man buns are never okay, Gabe, to be honest.
I've already been through this, but I am mocking motherfuckers like you that go
know,
Jake
I know,
Anderson.
I know.
FF.
I know.
That's awesome.
I love all of you. I love all of you. I'm just on the outside. Like I love all of you. Trust me, I do. But
No,
I'm the FF man bun and fucking deal with it.
That's so cool.
You're so cool, Gabe.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Speaking of how cool I am, I record fantasy football, sometimes fantasy baseball podcast intros. If you'd
All right,
like,
I'm leaving.
if you'd like any sort of podcast intro, possibly for your dumb fucking zoology podcast, something like that, hit me up.
Oh my god.
J-Mike put the mute on that one. J-Mike put the mute on that one.
Oh shit.
I was going to ask you about a new theme for a game night, but you know,
Did I just okay?
you just lost some
There's
business,
the bus.
pal.
There's the bus.
Big bird, fuck off.
But you know, on the real though, like I haven't been asking for shit, and I never would ask for shit, but I put myself out there for because I realized like how many intros ended up being throughout this fantasy football community, which first of all, thank you for letting me be a part of that. But second of all, thank you for just contributing to the whatever the fuck it is that I do to help you with your podcast. I just enjoy creating music, and to be a part of what y'all are doing is absolutely fantastic. So Matt Price, I'll be coming through with the chimpanzee and whale sounds beat. And I got you on next, brother. Don't worry. No, but for real, thank you guys. And we do intros, and we have a beautiful intro to this podcast, and you're gonna hear, if you're listening in a podcast form, you're gonna hear it here shortly. But before we do that, did everyone say bye, J-Mike? Are we good? Can we say bye?
Good to go.
We do everything.
Bye.
Good for landing.
All right, so we can put our drinks up, fellas, whether you have one or not. Just put them up to the camera. See this, if you don't come and watch us live, you don't get to see the old cheers at the end of the show, because it's really the best part. You never know if we actually do it or not.
Have you guys ever had that?
Oh, don't worry. We'll talk about that in the after hours open bar.
There really is an after hours? Oh, great.
I have to pee so badly though. We have to go. We will see y'all next week. 9:30 Eastern, Tuesdays. The Super Bowl will have happened. Who cheats? Who knows? But we'll see y'all next week. And deuces.